I'm making this video for a couple of reasons. One, to show that Zachary Levi, of all people, is supporting Donald Trump. Two, to talk about that and the reasons why he's supporting Donald Trump as president. And three, the absolute annoying nature of a place like Vanity Fair, who is so biased towards a specific political movement that even when someone denounces the behavior of Donald Trump but supports him reluctantly because RFK supports him, they still have to go after the throat of the person who supports Donald Trump begrudgingly. This is from Vanity Fair. It says Hollywood's biggest Donald Trump endorsement might be this failed DC superhero. SHAZAM star Zachary Levi tepidly endorsed the Republican presidential hopeful Saturday after his chosen candidate RFK Jr. departed the race. Okay, we're going to go ahead and read this article. If the 2024 presidential election is decided by A-list endorsers, then Donald Trump might want to start writing his concession speech now. Let me just stop right there. We all know that people like Vanity Fair and people in these mainstream media outlets wish that elections were decided by their vote alone, because then they would never have to worry about the actual people voting in the president-elect that they best believe would help them. Let's get back into it. A rundown of celebrities who've publicly chosen a candidate reads like the front row of the Oscars when it comes to support for Democrat nominee and current Vice President Kamala Harris. Meanwhile, Trump's biggest so far Hollywood supporter announced himself on Saturday, but even that endorsement felt lukewarm and hollow. That's because pretty much every mainstream Hollywood actor is not a conservative. Who would have thought? The fact that you even have any mainstream Hollywood actor endorsing Donald Trump is insane to begin with. Zachary Levi's politics have threatened to overshadow his work as an actor for years. Given his apparent skepticism of life-saving vaccines, his criticism of the SAG-AFTRA strike. Oh, you mean when people were refusing to act because they didn't want to get replaced by AI? Mean the people who were not working because they wanted a little extra pay grade in regards to what they were making on their $1 million contracts already, their multi-million-dollar contracts already? You mean the spoiled brats down the road in California who get everything that they want just by petitioning it? And they make millions of dollars a year? I wonder why someone might have a little bit of an issue with the spoiled brats down the road who are part of a union so they can make multi-million-dollar contract deals year in, year out. Who would have thought? And his loud and proud support of credibly accused sexual assailant, among other issues, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm just going to say right now, no. No. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. no longer kowtowed to the mainstream liberal agenda, so they decided to drudge up accusations, much like they've done with Dan Crenshaw and Donald Trump and pretty much anybody else who gets in their way. They'll attack your character, and if that doesn't work, they'll attack your bank, and if that doesn't work, they'll attack you personally. Meanwhile, his most recent turn as DC superhero Shazam was a massive bomb at the box office, a failure Levi appeared to blame on fellow DC hero Dwayne Johnson and the studio's marketing team. Well, for the most part, when you have a company like DC who is avidly against general comic book nerddom, same with Marvel, same with all these other mainstream comic book outlets, who genuinely despise their audience base, market it as if it's a comedy, make the movie in a poorly written way, and then you have someone with the ego the size of Mount Rushmore like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson trying to reallocate all the funds of DC Studios for his movie and his project, and it still flops. Of course you're going to get a lukewarm, if not absolutely cold-hearted reception towards any upcoming movies. You've also got Blue Beetle, which didn't do well, or Suicide Squad, which didn't do well, or many other movies and many other stories that haven't done well. Why aren't you talking about those ones? Oh, because that's your team, Vanity Fair, that made the failure to begin with. Moving on. When RFK Jr., who Levi described as the best we've had in a long time, bowed out of the presidential race, the Chuck actor clearly found himself at a crossroads. In 2020, for example, he tweeted, "I am no fan or supporter of Trump, and I find his behavior to be vulgar, callous, narcissistic, and lacking empathy." But in a time when J.D. Vance can call Donald Trump America's Hitler and then become his vice presidential pick, all bets are apparently off. And with RFK Jr. out of the race, Levi joined Roseanne Barr, Hulk Hogan, and fellow flop starring Jon Voight in supporting the convicted fraudster. Again, Donald Trump has only been convicted as a result of a corrupt judicial system. This has been attested to by federal judges. You can go ahead and see the Mug Club Undercover video, which Steven Crowder made, who testifies by the fact that this was a corrupt judicial system going after someone who's done nothing wrong and created a convicted felon status based off of completely null and void charges. Meaning charges that actually have no clear basis for what was done wrong to begin with at all. At all. There's zero clarity on what he actually did. According to them, it was just pick one other random misdemeanor charge and we'll bump it up to a felony. That's all it was. And now they're getting upset at Roseanne Barr and Hulk Hogan. But unlike those other supporters, Levi's endorsement was half-hearted at best, issued while hosting a Saturday event featuring RFK Jr. and former U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard. Oh yeah, there's another Democrat who's joined with Donald Trump because the modern Democrat Party is an aimless, socialistic, communistic piece of garbage propaganda machine that's going in tow with all of the mainstream media outlets and all of Hollywood. Who would have thought? Video from the event, a Dearborn, Michigan rally billed as part of Team Trump's Reclaim America tour, tells the tale, jokingly referring to himself as SHAZAM. Levi said, "For a long time I was like, man, I really want to find a politician that represents all of the things that I want and I want to see in a presidential candidate. And this year I found Bobby Kennedy, and I thought, man, this guy is it. He's the real deal, and in a perfect world, what that would look like, perhaps I would have voted for Bobby. But we don't live in a perfect world," Levi continued. "In fact, we live in a very broken one. We live in a country that has been hijacked by a lot of people who want to take his place way off the cliff, and we want to stop that, right?" And there's nothing wrong with that. And he goes on saying, "We're here to make sure that we are going to take back this country. We are going to make it great again. We are going to make it healthy again," Levi from the stage. "And so I stand with Bobby, and I stand with Tulsi, and I stand with everyone else who's standing with President Trump. Because I do believe of the two choices that we have, and we only have two, Donald Trump, President Trump, is the man that can get us there. And he's going to get us there because he's going to have the backing and the support and the wisdom and the knowledge and the fight that exists in Robert Kennedy Jr. and former Representative Tulsi Gabbard." Before he began his remarks, Levi entered on Bachman Turner Overdrive's 1973 song, "Taking Care of Business," but for his next appearance, blah, 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 blah. So this is one big article that's trying to trash someone's personal decision to endorse a political candidate, and they're only trashing them because of the fact they're endorsing Donald Trump. Zachary Levi is only endorsing Donald Trump because the modern-day Democrat Party, which again is an aimless, socialist, communist, warmongering piece of garbage party, has no longer embodied the views and the politics that Zachary Levi, a Democrat, by all accounts, by all terms and evidence, has lived his life by. But people like Tulsi Gabbard, who is a regular Democrat who doesn't believe in the crazy crap, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who was literally related to John F. Kennedy, the man who was assassinated, the man who was at one point in time praised by the media for how much he was this, that, and the other, is now hated on. And Donald Trump, again, a Democrat who has only taken up the role of Republican because of the fact that this is such an awful, awful world and such an awful, awful turn from the Democrats initial proclamations of their beliefs into what they are now. The three people he's endorsing are lifelong Democrats who have sided with the Republican Party because the modern day Republican Party more closely represents their Democrat ideals than the modern day Democrat Party. Who'd have thought? Well, despite all this crazy upside down nonsense, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts, share this video out there with your friends, subscribe and hit that bell notification icon. I hope you guys have a great day and a great rest of the week.